It is my pleasure to host today this after session Professor Fink Jensen, who is professor in Copenhagen and Mental Health Institute. He is the senior author on a recent publication entitled Once Weekly Semaglutide versus Placebo in Patients with Alcohol Use Disorder and Comorbid Obesity, and randomized double-blind placebo-controlled trial. So thank you very much, Professor Fink Jensen, to be with us today. And congratulations to you and your co-authors for this publication. We know that semaglutide benefit to patients with MASH. We have hints that semaglutide may have an effect on the consumption of alcohols. And we have many patients who combines both, which are met-ALD patients with obesity, consumption of alcohol, and we don't have so far specific data on this population. So can you first describe the design of your trial?
Yeah, I would like to do that. And first, perhaps just mention that the first author is a MD, PhD, Mette Kruse-Clausen, who was actually the one that on the day-to-day practice ran the study. So she did an enormous job. The study is a randomized controlled trial lasting for 6 months. And everyone, they have to fulfill the diagnostic criteria for alcohol use disorder. And the participants also have to have a BMI of 30 or higher. All of them got psychotherapy, cognitive-based psychotherapy, and then half of them got the active compound semaglutide up to 2.4 milligram, and the other part got the placebo pens injection. And the thing is that we tried to get any of the GLP-1 companies to deliver the placebo pens, but it was not possible. It was out of their strategic areas. So patients have to show up every week for half a year in our hospital and get blindfolded and some music in their ear, and then we have to inject them either with the semaglutide pen dose or with a placebo saline dose.
Wow, this is a commitment. One more reason to applaud this publication. That's nice that you were able to have the placebo the way you did it, and congratulations for that. And so what are the main findings in this trial?
The main results, the primary endpoint was number of heavy drinking days, defined as 4 units or more for women per day, or 5 units or more for men per day. And this was the primary endpoint, and there was a significant decrease. So they went basically from, in average, 17 heavy drinking days out of the last 30 days. And the placebo group went down to 9 days, and the active group went down to 5. So 50% lower value compared with the other one. And this is at week 26, so at the end of the experiment.
With these results showing a benefit or reduction of alcohol consumption in patients with alcohol use disorder and obesity, how do you see this impacting our clinical management of these patients? Are we already at the step when we can say that patients who have MASH, regular consumption of alcohol is one more reason to treat them with a GLP-1 agonist?
Yeah, I mean, at least we have been out earlier also, us and colleagues from US, and advocated that people shouldn't use this kind of drugs unlabeled for alcohol use disorder. But of course, if people have a BMI over 30, or actually over 27 and co-medicated, then of course they can use it. And I think, since, depending on which studies you look at, but probably more than 20% who have a BMI over 30 also have a extended too high use of alcohol. So I think it would have some impact on this population, and then of course we hope to extend it to people with lower BMI also, but we haven't looked into that yet.
That's a key point. So far, stratified by BMI, this may have an important impact in patients with a BMI above 30. We need more data below 30, right?
Yeah, and perhaps I could tell you the reason why we did it in this subpopulation, you can say, why we want people to have a BMI over 30 was that we have done a study early on with GLP-1, the first generation exenatide, and it was published back in 22, and there we didn't see an effect on the primary endpoint, but when we did imaging scans, we could see an effect on the alcohol cue-induced brain activation in the reward center, an effect of exenatide, and the post hoc analysis also showed that if you look at people with a high BMI or 30 or higher, there was a significant effect on number of heavy drinking days and total alcohol intake and so on. So that was basically why we make the next study we just published, where we had a more potent compound, semaglutide, also possible to go up at higher doses, and then otherwise more or less the design was the same.
Thank you very much for being with us today and for highlighting the important trial, which really is opening new perspective in the treatment of med-ALD patients. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Nice to be part of it. Thanks.